Thanks for joining us again for this 6th video of Revenge of the Sis. We're having a look at a very quick video tonight, just having a quick review of one of the videos, episode 399 I think it was. Just as an aside today, this is probably, we've been doing this probably now, for 4 or 5 days I think. This is the 6th video. We try and have been doing one a day for the first week or so, and as we did expect, the trolling started today from supporters of Revenge of the Sis and so forth, which you can understand, or which you could expect, but it was pretty low level. In fairness, it was low level. It wasn't really oppressive type of trolling. You know, a few obscenities, people telling me I'm wasting my time and some of the worst videos they've ever seen, but generally they couldn't actually point out why they were the worst videos. To be honest, I don't think they're the best videos ever produced, but I am learning, I'm finding my feet with these things, and we're getting a few views and people are liking them, but people are liking the points that we're making. Not unexpected to receive some of that trolling today. And it'll probably get worse, but that's okay because we've got points to make. A lot of the people that did do some trolling today, when you check them out, I mean, they generally tried to make fun of pretty much every aspect of what I do, from me personally to, you know, how long I've been doing this for and how many views and blah blah blah. But when you actually look at those people, their achievements are fairly well non-existent, and when you challenge them, they can't really come back with any. They're not really able to provide any significant contribution they've made, so it's just this lack of self-awareness that is on YouTube. I think that is prevalent. People tend to think they're just so polished and such polished performers, but they don't really take a good look at themselves to see exactly what they do. So back to Royce. The Screeching Royce, as I like to, as people have pointed out to me. Well, let's have a look at Screeching Royce.
Our definition of fairness is one of those things that we thought would be like obvious and everybody would agree to, and it wasn't.
Because you're so fucking arrogant! Because you're so fucking arrogant that you think that everybody thinks like you. You don't understand that people have different experiences in life. That what's fair to you, what's fair to somebody in fucking Silicon Valley is different than what's fair to some fucking poor farmer in Missouri.
In fairness, he did have quite a bit to be annoyed about. This woman from Google, I forget what her name is now, something Janae or something along those lines. She was part of that brouhaha that occurred several days ago, when I think the Project Veritas expose came out, and it's quite staggering really to see her talk here about the way they try and manipulate what the world sees through Google, and how they interpret the world, and just they place a filter over the world basically in terms of a distortion, if you like. It's just a narrative of oppression and this hierarchy of victimhood, which just produces appalling results. Instead of letting there be real fairness and real justice, we've ended up with these made-up genres of social justice and things of this nature, which really don't make a lot of sense and produce a lot of distortion. And that's why we see so many conservative videos being you know, not getting a fair play, and so many of the SJW and the left side of politics just having such a great run with these technology companies. So I just thought we'd skip right through to basically when the first story happened, which was about nearly the 31-minute mark of this video. So that's how long they wasted of their show, bleating about the money that they're out of pocket. 31 minutes it took to get to their show. So whether fans are getting value out of this, I don't know. It's very hard to it's very hard to argue that they still are. And this is what's frustrating, is they're becoming everything that they have criticised in the past. But eventually they did get to their first story, which was the Project Veritas story, and it was a very important story as well, because it was to do with this Google situation, and there was some pretty crazy stuff that come out, in particular from that lady who was secretly filmed. I forget what her first name is, something Janae or whatever was her surname, and it's pretty horrifying stuff. So if you can listen, if you've got a bit of time, have a listen.
We got called in front of Congress multiple times. They can pressure us, but not change.
We get called in front of Congress several times. Like, first of all, like, they can do, like, whatever. Can you imagine, Mike, we're living in a world where somebody that says, like, is deciding what you're allowed to say on the internet.
So this is pretty scary. She's basically sitting there and saying that as a company, they got called in front of Congress on many occasions, and they basically just didn't care, as they say down the bottom. They can pressure us, but we're not changing. So just remember that.
Elizabeth Warren is saying that we should break up Google. And, like, I love her, but she's very misguided. Like, that will not make it better.
You should say like more.
I love her. Elizabeth Warren is saying we should break up Google. I love her, but that won't fix it. It will make it worse, because now all these smaller companies who don't have the same resources we do.
Smaller companies who don't have the same resources that we do will be charged with preventing the next Trump situation. It's like a small company cannot do this.
Your job, Jen, isn't to prevent the next Trump situation. No one has charged you with that. No one. Your job, as any corporation, your first thing should be to the shareholders, right? That's always what it is. Your shareholders are number one, and then your employees, and it goes down there. Your job isn't to prevent the next Trump thing. So they're saying, listen to this. We're so big and powerful. We have to stay big and powerful so that a Trump situation doesn't happen.
So that is pretty scary what this, and I remember her name now, Jen Janae, she's gone on to say that basically they need to keep doing what they do, and they need to keep filtering the information that is received, because the election of Donald Trump was, in their eyes, a mistake, something, and as they say, they'll be charged with preventing the next Trump situation. Everyday people, we should be absolutely petrified at that statement.
Google executive, Janai talks about making sure when people search for things through machine learning algorithms, Google's political agenda is always present.
We all got screwed over in 2016.
No, we did not.
No, we did not.
No!
Like any election in the history of America, half of us got fucked. Half of us, okay? The very half of us that were getting fucked for 8 years. It was our turn, you bitch.
So they've got pretty animated, both of the guys there. But in fairness, it was a pretty horrific statement that she made, and it just goes to show the lack of self-awareness that these companies have, these large tech companies, that they can just sit there and brazenly say that people got screwed over. Well, I think I have to agree with Mersh on that one. At any given point in time, in most of the developed countries of the world, election results are very close. So you can't have your preferred political party in power all the time. The Republicans are going to be in power for some of the time, and then Democrats are going to be in power some of the time, and that's just the way it is. But
everybody got screwed over.
Every single person. We speak for everyone at Google.
But you know what? This shows you what they think. That there is no, outside of this little Silicon Valley bubble or Brooklyn bubble, depending on which one you're in, other people, other human beings, other needs don't register to them. They don't register that maybe the reason half the country voted for him was because they didn't like the way things were going.
Yes,
no, it's not me. It's the hillbillies who are wrong.
Yes, it's called being a sociopath.
No, I know.
it's quite a sobering experience to hear the way this girl talks.
Algorithmic unfairness means reality. right?
No,
But doesn't have. But they're using the word algorithmic unfairness to describe reality.
Even if it were factually accurate.
So here goes Royce with a screeching.
Hold on. Even if it were okay, you know what? So if I were to search for here, let me try something.
So what they're trying to show here is that this is a quote. I think it's from one of the Google executives, basically saying that, for example, imagine that a Google image for query for CEOs shows predominantly men. Even if it were factually accurate representation of the world, it would be algorithmic unfairness. So this is what Google is saying, is that they will distort even factually accurate information because it is not a representation of the world as they would like to see it. Okay, so I just want you to think about that for a couple of minutes as to how crazy that situation is.
In this document, it says, in some cases, it may be appropriate to take no action if the system accurately affects current reality, while in other cases, it may be desirable to consider how we might help society reach a more fair and equitable state via product intervention. What do they mean by that?
Your job is not to manipulate society. Your job is to tell me when I'm curious about something, what's the best website I can find that'll give me the information about that. That's it. That's your job. Tickets you get?
It's still a little fishy.
No, it is. It is.
There's a lot of people on this website. There's a lot of tickets.
And
I don't, you know, man, you're all just such pieces.
And I was looking at the rising channels. I was looking at the rising channels. If it wasn't for the fact that we were X-rated, we'd be like top 8, I think.
Yeah, no.
So here we go again. We avoided it for a little while, but back around the 50-odd minute mark, we're again going back to the situation with D-Live and all this internal discussion about their ranking and where they are and where they're not there, where they're not ranked, why they're not ranked, and whatever the case may be. So there was a couple of weeks there where I doubt whether people got very good value at all for listening to these videos. We hope that they come out of it, because even though it looks like I spend a lot of time having a go at these guys, they have the ability to produce reasonable content, but we're just not seeing it over the last few weeks. And we definitely have seen a change in the way they present their content. There's a far more mean-spirited edge to it. There's a far more arrogant edge to it. They've forgotten where they come from. As someone said to me in a private DM today, they've developed a God complex, and they are exactly the very thing that they used to criticise other people for. So I'll leave it there today. Go over the video again. If you want to make a comment, please do. And I apologise in advance for a lot of the trolling comments that are starting to appear under these videos. I generally don't like to interfere too much. I mean, we understand it's a combative world on YouTube. I'm going to leave most of the negative comments up because I think we can, I don't like banning, and I don't like deleting comments. Of course, if something was just terribly inappropriate, or someone posted something which was explicit, or just shouldn't be there, or was just laced with profanity, or just inappropriate in some way, I definitely would remove that. But I hope I don't have to do that too often. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.